Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Wolves Podcast, Episode 3. 'Twas the day before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring. Well, maybe the Black Wolves were. Hi, guys. It's currently December 23rd, and here we are, gathered together here around the Yuletide Zoom, ready to reflect on all the good things that happened this year. All the good movies, all the good TV shows, all the good music, all the good games, because you know what? We need a little goodness in our life. I'm Jeremy Van Suarez.
I'm Jacob Wade.
And I'm Logan Riley Bruner.
And this is the Black Wolves Podcast, so let's get down to it.
Woo!
I mean, we have a list of and these are in no particular order either. These are just, it's just media that we've appreciated this year. I guess we should, why don't we start with us first?
Yeah, I was gonna say, we can be nice to everybody else, but we did some cool stuff too.
Of course, yeah. This is it's 2020. This is the year that Black Wolves officially relaunched with our logo and our website and our collective and our social media. Logan, why don't you take us through some of the marvelous things that Black Wolves has done this year?
Oh wow. Okay, so January we put out an Indiegogo video that was shot by the amazing Dominic Neves, who is absolutely brilliant. We got a bunch of Black Wolves together. We officially started the collective.
Shouts out collective. We raised a bunch of money for our relaunch, which was super cool. We got a logo, we got a website, we reset our Instagram, we didn't reset our YouTube. We set up our YouTube properly. Like just yesterday or something like that.
February, we started having auditions for a couple things. We shot a whole web series. And then some things happened in the world. Fast forward to September. And we released Tucci and Jones, The Country House, a series of interviews. I think right now we're at 12 or 13. Could be wrong. Let me check my numbers on that real quick.
Who's counting?
It's more like 10.
Me.
Clearly me. Jacob thinks it's 10. How many do you think we're at, Jeremy?
I don't know. I like the number 13, so let's say 13.
You like the number 13, so you're going to say 13.
Yeah, I don't think it's 13, but let's just put it out there.
How many interviews have we done?
We have done 12. We've done 12 interviews with collective members. And there are more to come for the beginning of 2021, with others hopefully soon to follow. We started releasing acoustic covers, which was hosted by Jacob. There was a short-lived series called Songs as Speeches, which might come back if enough people have interest in it. We released like 6 or 7 episodes of that. We made a trailer for our entire company. We released like 6 trailers for this proof of concept called Spotlight, which we're really excited about. And then a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, which we will be talking about early in the year next year. So it's been a great year for Black Wolves.
Not to mention Iron Mask.
Iron Mask, yes. We just released, I think, yesterday, as of recording this podcast. So very excited to have worked with Hellhound Pictures. Yeah, it's been a crazy year to have something that was shot as recently as February release at the same time as something we shot like 3 Marches ago is really weird. To like see Country House come out alongside Tucci and Jones was a surreal experience.
True.
Oh yeah. And the responses we got were good too.
Yes. It's been a good start.
And we're only just beginning, folks.
Clearly. There's a lot coming, and there's a lot that I really wish that we could announce now, but that is still in early stages. So it'll be coming soon.
Never fear. We are still working just as hard as we have been this past year, and we don't plan on slowing down anytime soon. So
actually, I think we're starting to work harder than we have. Like, as much as 2020, we worked really, really hard. Like, look at the slate of things that we have on our plate right now is like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
2021 is going to be busy.
Yeah, who knew that 2020 would be as busy as it was? I
Well,
mean,
we hoped at the beginning of the year.
we hoped in the beginning of the year that it would be busy, but then we like had this wave of depression as we thought that like we would be doing nothing. But I think we really did end up like pulling it together and we were really productive despite the circumstances.
I mean, we edited the entire web series remotely during quarantine.
Yeah.
Like, all of Tucci and Jones, just to give people a little peek behind the mirror, was either Jacob or I editing on a hard drive, bouncing to Google Drive or Dropbox, the other person downloading it and then watching it and giving notes. It was a whole process of just us editing together but separate. It was really cool.
Hey man, when you're in a quarantine, you make the best of it. And Blackwolves boys, we make the best of it.
We do.
You gotta get that content out there, that excellent content out there. But speaking of content that's out there, it's really interesting looking back on the stuff that came out this year. I feel like it's felt like such a long year that there's stuff that I've kind of like forgotten.
Oh yeah,
that's come 100%. Out. Like
all
all
the pre-quarantine stuff feels like a different year.
Gone.
Yeah, right. Like let's get into it. I think movies is a great place to start.
Sure.
And I'm just gonna throw my first pick in the ring. This is a movie that I forgot completely that had come out this year until I refreshed my mind on what dropped this year. And then I realized, wow, I really, really like this movie, and I'll probably put this in my top 2 of the year. Palm Springs. Palm Springs is a Hulu original film that has to deal with this time loop that happens at a wedding. It's super funny. Has a lot of heart to it, and I think it gives you the hope you need this year. It's a great movie, and I think everyone should check it out if you're into like Andy Samberg at all. It's a Lonely Island movie, so you kind of know what you're signing up for. You're getting some stupid humor, but you're also getting some like heart at the center of it. Jacob, I know I watched this with you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Palm Springs? What did that leave you with?
It was a good time. I've always loved Andy Samberg's characters. I just think that he's a funny guy, and this movie showcased him in a way that Hot Rod didn't exactly. Like he's matured, and I feel like he's going in a good direction. I really loved that movie. It's got some great plot twists and a lot of funny sequences. Definitely check out Palm Springs if you're looking for a good comedy.
I'm the one of the 3 of us that haven't seen it yet, so I need to watch it. But
I feel like I told you to watch this like when it came out in March
or
something like
before
that.
quarantine. You told me to watch this.
Oh, this came out in July. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Logan.
Way earlier than that. Whoa.
Yeah, so did I.
Anyway, I agree with you, Jacob. I think a lot of people forget that Andy Samberg is actually a really good actor. Because he does kind of really silly stuff. But every now and again you see him in one thing that you're like, oh yeah, you can really act. You're really good at this thing. So it's nice to see interesting dramas that come out with Andy Samberg in them. Even though Palm Springs is a comedy, every time loop movie has to get dark at some point.
Yep, Palm Springs definitely does that. Logan, would you like to share some of your favorite movies of 2020?
Yeah, I'm a 180 it completely. This first movie is not a favorite of mine, but it was a fun, silly, good time that I enjoyed. I went to see it in theaters with our friend and fellow collective member, Lacey Zerlip. Shout out Lacey. Sonic the Hedgehog!
Yes. What I believe is to be the highest grossing movie of the year. The sleeper hit that no one saw coming.
Listen. I see your face, Jacob. I know what you're thinking. Listen, the original trailer came out and it looked terrible. And everyone said so very loudly. And the team got back together and fixed it. Now, whether this was a marketing stunt and they had a second version planned all along, or whether it's the team actually listened to fans and completely redid the design of Sonic. I don't really care. What I care about is that a studio heard people and made a change, and that change was effective and positive. And so I felt when that change happened, as I had been one of the people that was like, this new Sonic looks terrible, that I needed to support creators who had listened to their fans. So I went and saw the movie. If you have not seen Sonic the Hedgehog, it is exactly what you think it'll be. Take the movie that you see in your head, that's what it is. Whatever you think it is, it's yes. Yes. Jim Carrey's hilarious because he's Jim Carrey.
Of course he is.
Make anything funny.
Jim Carrey is the one shard of faith that I have if I were to watch this movie, because I haven't watched Sonic the Hedgehog. But if I were to watch it, I'd be like, well, I know I'm gonna get a good time with Jim Carrey.
Come on, man. James Marsden is great. We love him in Westworld. Sure we love him everywhere. He's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's a fun, good time. It's not a movie that pop in when I want to watch a classic, but it's fun.
Also, quick fact check: the top grossing movie of 2020 was actually Bad Boys for Life.
Oh right, yeah, Bad Boys for Life came out, and then
with 1917 coming in second, and Sonic the Hedgehog coming in third.
1917 came out this year? I thought it came out last year.
I think 1917 might have been a select theater release last year,
right?
And then it mass released in January.
Right. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog, silly, ridiculous. There are far better movies that I have seen this year that are also on my list. But
yeah, like why don't you name one of them?
That was the early. Oh, you want me to name one of them? I have so many things that I actually liked this year.
Let's talk about 1917 for a second.
Sure, I love that.
It sure originally came out 2019, but wide release 2020, so most of people saw it this year. Wow, what an accomplishment for film. Like, that movie is, for me, unlike any other war movie that's been released, personally. Like, for the majority of this movie to have been, like, done in one shot, you know? So impressive, so visually stimulating. I was on the edge of my seat, like, the whole movie. And the little cameos that come in, like, just make it that much more enjoyable because you know that they're, like, trying to, like, get that freaking moment because all these takes are so long. It gives me so much respect for the people in the movie, for the creators that made the movie, everyone who worked on the movie, the editors who did the post on the movie to make it so seamless. Just props to 1917, the entire cast and crew. I loved it, and I want to see that movie again. It was that cool.
Oh, I would 100% watch it a third time. It's one of the most remarkable films I've ever seen in my life. Like, say what you want about the story, say what you want about gimmicks in filmmaking. The fact that they pulled off 20-minute long takes of like running and guns and explosions and lights and all of it is remarkable in and of itself. Even if the movie had come out and I had hated the story, I would have still applauded it for that. But it didn't. I loved the story and I loved the acting. For me, I think it and Saving Private Ryan are like locked in step with each other as my favorite war movies. I think they both just do brilliant work. I think 1917 is just such an accomplishment in terms of how people can tell stories. Like the idea of going to a studio now and being like, I basically want to make just a play. Like, I want to make a play with really amazing sets that like takes place over a day and show everything in real time, except for when characters like black out. The fact that got pulled off is like props to everybody involved with that movie. It was fantastic.
Yeah, those resets must have been the worst.
Oh my gosh, I would have lost my mind.
Yeah,
with the explosions and all the smoke in the air, like clearing, like
they must have had the big fans on the right out of frame, just being like, "All right, reset, blow out all the smoke away."
Like 300 extras that have to like all go back
Yeah, I remember seeing 1917. I remember not being like the biggest fan of the story, but just like everyone else is saying, you know, the feat of the movie alone is remarkable and really does make it incredible. And like the fresh faces that are like up and center in this movie, at least to me, I had never been exposed to the two lead actors beforehand, and they both did such an incredible job with the script that they were given. um yeah, a lot of props to 1917.
Props to casting directors for putting lesser known faces in the the big chairs.
Yeah, and props to casting for doing that. Props to directors for trusting newer actors. Props to producers for signing off on newer actors. I think something brilliant that happens when that happens is you have familiar faces in kind of the outside roles. So the moment they pop on screen, you know, oh, this character's played by Benedict Cumberbatch. I know who this character is. Got it. With new fresh faces, it gives the audience a chance to be like, I don't know who this actor is, so I don't know who this person is, so I need to just like listen and understand who this human is as I go through it. I think that's something that filmmakers are starting to really use to their advantage, is because we live in such a celebrity culture, there is that idea of like, if you know the actor, you know the character. So this year there's been a lot of subversion of that, and a lot of like casting actors in roles that they're not really known for playing to kind of subvert expectation, or casting newer actors to get that fresh face of like, oh, you don't know who this character is. Get to know
Yeah. Jacob, would you like to shout out another movie that we have on our list?
Just pick one at random.
Yeah, okay. I mean, pick one that really stuck out to you. You know,
one that stood out to me was
we have a lot of stuff to go through. So you know, if we don't mention everything on this list.
Yeah, a few of these stand out to me. But I'll go with Onward for the first one that I talk about. Just a beautiful Pixar movie, taking it to the Renaissance, but like magical. Like it's like a medieval magical world that they're living in.
Yeah, it looked like it. I haven't seen the movie, but from the trailers, it looks like Zootopia if there weren't any animals and they were all like fantasy characters, because it's kind of that like juxtaposition of like, we're taking this trope, you know, but we're setting it in like the real world kind of aesthetics.
That's what the trailer looks like. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd call it like fantasy modernism. It's like it's really interesting the way they do it. It's got so much heart.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that's just like, the moment it started, I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, it's a classic hero's journey.
Yeah. Hero must fulfill a quest. Done. That's the premise.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's the classic trope of hero must complete a quest. There's like, you know, the sidekick. There's the
obstacles that get in his way. It's a hero's journey.
It's perfect. I think it's a perfect hero's journey. It's got like all the bows nicely and tightly wrapped. Like,
I think it doesn't do necessarily anything new with the genre, but it does everything well. Yes. So it takes something that you know and kind of puts a perfection on it that is like only really Pixar can.
Adds the Pixar heart to it. Like, yeah.
It's like, we're going to take this thing that you've seen and we're going to make it perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you haven't seen Onward yet, please check it out, Jeremy. And yeah, let's move on. I want to talk about Birds of Prey also.
Yes, I was going to bring this up.
Please, Logan, talk about it.
Birds of Prey, or the fantastic emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Fantabulous.
I knew I was going to mess up on
Emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Okay, so for all the comic book fans / gatekeepers that are currently in our comments being like, Harley Quinn was terrible. Cool.
Disagree.
Totally welcome to your opinion.
I think we all disagree with that.
Rug.
I really liked it as well.
It is nice to see a movie with a female lead that's an action movie that's not directed by a man. We really like that. As much as I think men can be fantastic directors, I think giving women an opportunity, Patty Jenkins with Wonder Woman and Kathy Yan as the director of Harley Quinn, it's great to see. It gives us three-dimensional characters who are interesting and have cool stories, and I loved the cast, and I thought everyone in it was brilliant. Margot Robbie was great.
Margot Robbie is like such a perfect Harley Quinn.
She is the ideal for Harley Quinn. It's so great.
There's so many good sequences in that movie also. Like, I've got one in particular that I'm thinking about that I don't want to talk too much about, because if you haven't seen it, you just gotta watch it.
I mean, it came out earlier this year. We could do some like light spoilers, you know, like no big plot twists.
All right, no plot twist, but I'll just say that bacon, egg, and cheese.
That bacon, egg.
Oh, it was a real mood, I have to say. Yeah. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in it. She was a huntress.
I just want to talk about the parallels between Birds of Prey and Scott Pilgrim for a sec. There's a lot. And like, it feels very similar in genre of like, kind of like, tone. Yeah. Very, very well done. I mean, Scott Pilgrim is so good.
There's definitely a sense for me that they knew what they were doing, and they brought together a group that really did it well. It makes me very happy to see. It makes me happy to see Harley Quinn finally getting, because Harley Quinn has been one of my favorite comic book characters for a really long time. So to see her not just be Joker's like abused girlfriend is really cool. I'm very tired of the Joker and Harley Quinn abusive relationship.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I feel like DC might also be approaching that point, because they've also released season 2 of their animated Harley Quinn show on HBO Max, in which the whole premise is like Harley Quinn splits ways with the Joker to make a life of her own in the League of Doom.
I think there just came a point this year that a lot of people like realized how terrible that relationship was, because there was so long in comics history that people were like, oh my gosh, Joker and Harley Quinn, my favorite. Very idolized. And to like actually look back at it,
like fetishized
extremely. There is this sense of like, why are we fetishizing a completely abusive relationship? Like a relationship where one party is like very horrible to the other, and all of us were just like, they're so great. No, they're not. So I'm glad that we get a little freedom from that.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you want to talk about another movie, and then we can just rally off some of these that we don't necessarily want to like go.
All right. Well, I definitely want to talk about this movie. I watched it again for a third time last night just to make sure I understand everything, because when you mess with time in a movie, things can get so complicated. There are just certain tenets that you need to abide by, and on third watching, I'm a huge fan of Christopher Nolan, right? Like I got the poster, like I got the movies, like I have the ticket stubs. I've seen most of his movies day one. It's great. I think like Tenet is just such an interesting movie to wrap your head around. We had the extreme benefit of renting out a private theater and seeing Tenet the way it was meant to be seen on the big screen. And like, boy, oh boy, was it a reminder of what the movie theater experience is. It was very much needed in a year where movie theaters are shutting down, going bankrupt, you know, and just having a movie that was just kind of like, I want to call it dumb fun, but this movie isn't dumb at all. In fact, it might be too smart for its own good. But just to have a movie where it's like, we're going to throw this information at you, and you as an audience member, you just have to take it and run with it. There's no time to question anything. Don't ask about entropy. Let's not talk about the laws of physics. You just have to trust us with this, because this is going to be a crazy ride. I don't want to be the only person that talks about it, but I'm just going to continue on for a little bit. John David Washington, holy crap, what a performance out of him. Robert Pattinson as the sidekick, you know, incredible job. Kenneth Branagh plays this disgustingly evil villain. I also watched the behind the scenes, so I just feel like I'm like up to date on like my Tenet information. Christopher Nolan told him that the character he plays is absolutely like apprehensible with no redeeming qualities, and like watching the movie like really brings that home. And also Elizabeth Debicki as Kat, this powerful like female role that like Kat like can be manipulative when she wants to. She has so much power when she wants to, but she's also like stuck in this situation, but never gives up hope. I'm gonna pass it on to someone else who wants to talk about Tenet, because I could, much like any Christopher Nolan movie, I can go on for hours talking about this.
Honestly, please do, because we saw it once and
damn it. Well, no. I do want to get your guys' opinion before I continue on a Tenet rant. Like, please.
It's a great Christopher Nolan movie. Do I think it's his best? No. Do I think any Christopher Nolan movie compared to other movies is great? Like, that's just baseline. But Christopher Nolan creates such a bar for himself that to reach that bar every time, like to hit Interstellar again, I don't think he's going to be able to do for a while. I think he's going to shoot for it and get real close, or shoot for it and like maybe miss by a couple steps. But Interstellar and Inception are like my bar for where I put Christopher Nolan movies. I don't know if Tenet hit that for me. Was it fantastic? Yes. Was it awesome to watch? Yes. Are the effects great? Yes. Is the filming great? Yes. Is the acting great? Yes. Is the directing great? Yes. Is the world building great? Yes. But there are just points that I would like lean over to Jeremy just as we were watching it and just go, does this make sense?
And on third time watching, it does make sense.
No.
I had to do, let me tell you, last night I had to do some real mind jumps to finally understand like the timeline of this movie.
Yeah, it's I think there are some times that the fact that Christopher Nolan, and I applaud him for it, does not do explanations. He just kind of goes, this is how it works. Why? This is how it works. We have to do a slingshot around this planet to get to this other planet. Don't ask questions. It's like, I can applaud you for that. I can applaud you for the brazenness of just like, accept my world, because that's what it is. But that can lead to moments of
frustration. What? Yeah.
How Confusion. Does any of this work? Who? That just makes things bizarre. That being said, I do think Tenet is a fantastic movie. I would see it again. It's gonna be a while before I watch it again, because
we should watch the behind the scenes so that you get this incredible appreciation for it, and then watch the movie, because that's what I did last night, and I was like, I felt like I was watching the movie for like the first time all over again.
Sure. Do you mean I'll get an appreciation for it as in they explain things, or I'll get an appreciation for it as in seeing how it was shot will make me appreciate?
I feel like it's both. I honestly feel like I understood. I felt like I was only able to parse the timeline watching, hearing them explain how they shot it themselves. They don't, it's not like Christopher Nolan doesn't like sit down and it's like, so here's what happens in Tenet. It's like, no, that doesn't happen. But hearing like how they filmed the car chase, how they had to like how visual effects department had to like gauge a sense of like what was happening. They like 3D modeled the entire like vault scene when someone fights someone else. They 3D modeled the whole fight scenes, and they placed like every character so that if you could watch it, you basically have a bird's eye view of everything, like all the intersecting timelines going on at once. And while they don't show like the full scene of that, like even seeing a glimpse of that, I was like, that's what's happening. Like I think it does a good job of doing both of what you said.
Yeah,
feel like I wish that I had a bit of that information during my first watch.
Agreed.
Like, I wish that it had been a little more explained. Like, we had seen a bird's eye view where we see everything going on at once, and it's like, oh, like we get that click in the movie theater, not when you get home and put in the special. Like,
yeah, I almost want to relate it to like, and it's totally different. So they're two different worlds, but kind of the same idea as like J.K. Rowling saying things about characters after the books have already released. Is like, oh, this character's actually gay.
I think it's different because Christopher
That feels
Nolan
like a-
obviously filmed this behind the scenes stuff before they started
Oh,
filming.
sure.
So,
But
like,
it feels that same sense of like, I have the product and then I have to go to another source to like get information about the product. It's like, we'll just put the information
But
in the
yeah,
product.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a Christopher Nolan movie at heart. It's a movie that, much like Inception, much like Interstellar, you only appreciate it more with each subsequent viewing.
Right.
Honestly, because if you told me you came out of Inception after first viewing and you were like, I totally understood what happened, I'd call you a bold-faced liar. Honestly, and it wasn't until
got what happened.
and exactly, and that's how you come out of every Christopher Nolan. I feel like it's not until like that third or fourth watch that you're like, oh, I'm connecting all the dots now. And for some people, that's a turnoff, and it's completely understandable. But me, I'm someone that likes to, if I like a movie, I'll rewatch it. And having the benefit of rewatching Tenet in like 4K Ultra HD with subtitles, because Christopher Nolan's sound mixing can get a little iffy sometimes, even if it does add to his world. It's sometimes a bit of a problem. But yeah, I think in terms of like spectacle, pure like movie experience spectacle, like Tenet really takes the cake for me for this year.
Tenet really suffered from the fact that movie theaters shut down. It is not the kind of movie that you want to do your first viewing of at home. It like, if you can rent out a theater, because I know some places are doing that, and be safe and like social distance and all of that, I highly recommend that you see Tenet in the theater. I don't think I would have liked it anywhere close to as much as I liked it if I'd watched it at home.
Maybe you'll like it at home though, because you'll have the benefit of subtitles and rewinding and being like, wait a minute, what just happened there?
What'd he say?
I think there's a quote from Tenet that really describes how it's the advice that I would give to anyone going to see Tenet. Don't try to understand it, feel it.
Fair.
Let's run down all the other movies that we like this year. Jacob, would you like to name a few?
Yeah, sure. I loved Project Power. Written by Mattson Tomlin.
Shout out
to Mattson Tomlin.
Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, when I became a professional actor, was the first director to ever give me a film job. Was also the advisor for my senior screenwriting project, because I was a double major in college. So he's awesome for that. He also has a movie coming out this coming year called Little Fish, which I think everyone should see. And he has a movie that he is directing called Mother/Android, starring Chloe Grace Moretz, which I think everyone should see.
And
Mattson is a brilliant writer. He wrote Project Power as well.
And
what about that movie, that little movie. He also co-wrote The Batman with Matt Reeves. It's coming out.
Small movie, you know. That weird indie movie that no one's talking about.
I forget, because all he does are like these super intricate indie projects, and then like Batman. He's also writing the new Mega Man movie that's supposed to come out in 21 or 22, so that's going to be cool. Mattson Tomlin, writer to keep your eye out for. He is going to be winning Oscars for directing within the next 5 years. So you're going to want to say you saw his first movies.
Bookmark this part of the podcast.
Yeah. I want someone to clip this
that
so that when he wins his Oscars, I can say I called it, because I did. I've known him for at least 10 years at this point, and he has only gotten better. He was fantastic. When I first met him, he knew everything about cameras. Mattson has been making films and writing films since he was, I think, 9. And wow. He's been in the industry for at least 10 years, writing behind the scenes and like getting his specs picked up. He's doing a series with Seth Rogen that they have yet to announce. And I only know about because I follow him on Twitter. So there are a lot of really cool things coming. If you look at his IMDb, you will see like 8 films that are still in development because he's either sold them or people are interested in buying them. So just there's a lot of cool stuff that's going to come from him. I think Project Power was a great introduction to him as a writer.
So cool.
He did a really great job. The directors of that are really fantastic. There's some really awesome performances in it. I recommend everyone watch it. It's a Netflix movie. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's a great action film about superheroes and like the price of superpowers, and it's super cool. So see it.
There are a lot more movies on this list. However, we do need to move on because we have TV, video games, and music to talk about. So shout out The Invisible Man. Shout out the Half of It. Shout out The Five Bloods. Shout out The King of Staten Island. The Trial of the Chicago 7, Jingle Jangle, and Borat's subsequent movie film. Go check out all these movies.
Just like one sentence it for like each of them. Invisible Man's an amazing thriller. Half of it is a great rom-com about LGBTQ people. Really super awesome, amazing to see representation on screen. The Five Bloods is the Spike Lee movie, which, unless I'm completely mistaken, Chadwick Boseman is in, and he gives a incredible performance. King of Staten Island, the Pete Davidson movie, Judd Apatow, really, really well done. Trial of the Chicago 7 is Aaron Sorkin, and as everyone who knows me and Jeremy knows, we love Aaron Sorkin, and he does a great job. And then Borat subsequent, Jingle Jangle is a great Black Christmas movie. We need more of that.
Is it a musical?
It's a movie musical, which I love. And then Borat subsequent movie film gave us Rudy Giuliani getting caught in a hotel room with an actress, which was really funny and really disturbing. That whole movie is really funny and really disturbing. So go see it if you want to lose more faith in humanity, if you haven't already.
Also, maybe gain just a twitch of it back. Cheers.
Just a little bit, the tiniest bit from one person who's an amazing human being, and everyone else is garbage.
Moving on to television shows we all really liked. Well, I would, and I'm gonna run through some of them because I feel like we're gonna talk more about some others than other ones. Shout out The Good Place that had a fantastic final season in 2020.
Fantastic, an amazing finale to a great series.
Go watch The Good Place. It is an incredible show. Half-an-hour episodes, so easy to binge and ask such moral questions of the soul. You know. Shout out Supernatural that finished the last of its 20-something seasons. Only 15? I thought there were like 20-something.
Television. Like, even if you're like, oh, I thought there were more. Like, that show's been running since like 2003. It's insane how long that show has gone. The fact that it had legs to carry it this far is really incredible. Congrats on a great end to a series, to all of them. Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles are both gonna go on to do incredible things. Jensen Ackles has already joined The Boys, which I'm very excited about.
I'm surprised you didn't put I'm surprised no one put The Boys on this list.
Because I haven't seen season 2 yet.
Yeah, I'm not done.
I haven't seen it at all.
The Boys, amazing second season, which also featured Colby Minifie in a larger role. Colby Minifie, who went to high school with the three of us, who is a fantastic actress. So go watch The Boys.
The Mandalorian. Come on, Logan finally started watching it. All right, so don't come at me for The Boys when you've just started The Mandalorian. All right. Well, Logan, as someone new to The Mandalorian, how many episodes have you watched, and how are you enjoying it?
I've watched the first 4. It is my mom and my new show. We finished Flight Attendant and we moved on to Mandalorian. It is hilarious watching my mom freak out every time Baby Yoda comes on screen.
Baby Yoda. It's the child, I have to say.
I think I think it's a really well written show. The episodes feel a lot shorter than they are, so that's always a really good time. It's a quick series. To see a Star Wars thing that doesn't feel like a Star Wars thing is something that I always really like. Like, sure, it feels like a Star Wars show, but it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm watching Star Wars, which I started to get with the 7, 8, and 9. That feeling of like, oh, we're doing Star Wars. Okay, cool.
Movies.
Nothing new. We're just
the movies.
Star Wars. That's fine. The movies. Mandalorian, I think, does a really good job of keeping everything fresh and making me feel like, oh, this is new. This is exciting.
Jon Favreau, man, I'm telling you.
Jon Favreau is amazing. I applaud his directing skills and his writing skills.
And Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yes, she does a great job of directing the episodes that she directs. I just finished the first episode that she directs, and
I think it's the only one she directs that season.
When you are the daughter of Ron Howard, you have a lot to live up to, and I think she does a good job of it. So,
absolutely.
Mandalorian's great.
Jacob and I are completely up to date on Mandalorian, and we will not be spoiling anything, but it stays good.
Yes,
stays good.
Cool.
We must talk about I May Destroy You.
Yes.
You guys haven't seen it, have you?
I haven't watched it.
Okay. Wow, guys. You have to catch up. You gotta, I mean, it's one season.
I hear it may destroy me.
Yeah.
It may destroy you. I'm just going to put it out there. Trigger warning. There's a lot of triggering things within the show. I'll just say that. But I want to stress props to the creator of the show, motherfucking Michaela Cole. Fantastic. She is a powerhouse of an actor, writer, like creator. I want to see more from her. Also, like, big snaps to her for getting this on HBO after Netflix didn't give her the
the drama behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't heard this? Oh goodness, Jeremy.
Well, wait. Let's talk about it after the podcast. We have a lot of stuff to go through. I don't want to make this a drama cast.
It deserves the props to have the bravery and the confidence to look at Netflix and say, I will not give you this show unless I retain 100% creative control. To have them say no and to hold your show until someone else picks it up, I have to applaud. As a producer, as someone who writes, like, the idea of that is terrifying.
So much respect.
But the fact that HBO was willing to give her that is a testament to how good at her job she is. And so it makes me want to watch the show even more. HBO is coming with the triggering content. I feel like they always have. They've always been ready to push the envelope. So
but also they're incredible with representation.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I feel like Lovecraft Country fits into both of those quotas. I have not finished the show, but I've watched about 5 episodes of it. It is this wonderful blend of sci-fi and horror and drama all around this proud Black narrative, and it's incredible to watch, like, even thinking about stuff that was on TV like 5 years ago. Seeing Lovecraft Country, it's like I feel like I feel like it cements itself as like, this is how we're starting off the new decade with this type of content. It's an incredible show, and I recommend it to everyone.
It asks big questions about power, who has it, why they have it, who deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
It does an amazing job. I love Lovecraft Country.
I personally want to shout out Great Pretender, Netflix original anime. No superpowers. No high school boys having to save the world, no magical fairy ladies. If you like stuff like Ocean's 11 or Tower Heist, any sort of heist genre, you'll like Great Pretender. It has Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop vibes. It's this bright and colorful story about a bunch of con men conning the rich and greedy and powerful. Great show, so funny, easily bingeable. Highly recommend.
I'll suggest Unorthodox miniseries on Netflix that came out 2020.
I still need to watch this. Allison Wynn, who is another one of our collective members, also, I believe, recommended it.
Yeah. wild show. Only show I've seen that's like half in Yiddish, which is like really cool seeing like Jewish culture being represented in the mainstream, like on Netflix. It like half takes place in Brooklyn, half in Berlin, and it is nuts. It's a great miniseries. And also, I got a shout out Defending Jacob on Apple TV Plus, starring Chris Evans and Michelle Dockery. I talked about it last week on the podcast quickly. But yeah, still watching. There's one more episode, and I am ready for this limited series to end because, wow, it's dark and heavy and amazing performances all around.
All right. Move on to our favorite video games
Um,
of 20. I'm sorry. Continue.
There's one that I have to geek out about.
I wonder which one it is.
Queen's Gambit.
Oh, that's not what I thought it was. I thought you were going to talk about Down to Earth with Zac Efron. Go watch that show.
Yeah,
it's very wholesome.
That's an all three of us thing because I showed both of you that show. But Queen's Gambit, which I know Jacob hasn't watched, and Jeremy is about halfway through. Sorry, Jacob hasn't watched, and Jeremy's about halfway through. It's amazing. It's created by Scott Frank, who made Godless, which I also recommended because I thought it was amazing. Anya Taylor-Joy, Thomas Brodie Sanger. I'm just gonna run through the cast because they're amazing. Bill Camp.
Who thought chess would be so interesting?
Who thought chess would be so interesting? I did. The guy who played chess for a long time. Me.
Oh, now I see why you really like it, Logan.
Marielle Heller is amazing. Moses Ingram is fantastic. Harry Melling, best known for playing Dudley freaking Dursley in the Harry Potter movies, is awesome. It's a great cast. The writing is really strong. The fact that they're able to make so many different locations out of like one place, because they shot it in one city and just turned that city into a bunch of other cities. It's a really, really, really well done series. I think everyone should watch it. It is one of those series that if people wanted, put down in the comments if you would, I would happily do a like full talk review of that series. I think it is one of the best things on TV this year. The performance by Anya Taylor-Joy is
chef's kiss.
Mwah. So good. I have loved her since I saw her in Split. Actually, I've loved her since I saw her in The Witch, which was just a great movie.
I think I might have seen that movie for the first time this year.
Definitely worth watching. Queen's Gambit. Even if you don't like chess, you'll like it. It is not a show about chess. It's a show about a woman who plays chess. And I think that's apparent after the first episode. So go watch it. Highly recommend on Netflix. And as Jeremy so kindly brought up a few minutes ago, there's one more series that I showed both of them this year that I didn't expect to like as much as I did, and that is Down to Earth with Zac Efron. Netflix original docuseries about our planet, water, food,
sustainability, the environment. All through the lens of fan favorite Zac Efron. Who doesn't love Zac Efron?
Who doesn't love Zac Efron?
From Troy Bolton to saving the world. Who would have thunk it?
Genuinely, when I first saw that this series was coming out, I was like, why does Zac Efron want to do a docuseries about Earth? Like, is this going to be like National Geographic or something? But then I watched it and it was amazing. He really does care. It's not just a celebrity cash-in. You can tell that he's trying to actually use the celebrity that he got for some positive change, and I really appreciate that. I will turn the floor over to the two of you because I've been talking for a minute.
Is there any other show you want to talk about, Jacob? No? All right. So video games, it's been a great year for video games. It's the perfect stay at home long form activity. I'm gonna start with a game that more than just me have played. Ghost of Tsushima. Jacob, I know you've played it. I know you've beaten it. I've played it, beaten it, gotten platinum. Probably one of the best looking games of the entire PlayStation 4 generation. For it to come so late in its life cycle, basically at the end, is not necessarily a crime, but it felt kind of wrong playing it on last gen. But just the fact that they're able to, the fact that this team paid such close attention to the culture and the island, and never once did it feel like it was ingenuine or fetishizing of a culture. It was all very respectful. And that's just the world building alone. The game looks gorgeous. The design of it is minimal. The action is sexy swordplay mixed with a little bit of like Assassin's Creed stealth in there. And great performances all around. Daisuke Jito does. If you play this game, I would recommend it only in the Japanese dub. Not to knock off whatever the English dub is, but that Japanese dub is incredible.
When I finally get around to playing it, I'll have to play it in the Japanese dub.
Yeah, great game.
Shout out. I mean, probably the game that's gotten some of the most attention on this list, The Last of Us Part 2.
Touched on it a little bit last week.
Yeah, probably next to Ghost of Tsushima. I would also say Last of Us Part 2 was the prettiest game of this generation. Well, actually, I'd say Last of Us Part 2 is the most gorgeous looking game because it focuses more on like the realism of things, whereas Ghost of Tsushima kind of feels like an old Japanese painting come to life. The Last of Us Part 2 almost kind of feels like a documentary style. Brutal, bloody zombie game, but it's not about the zombies. It's so much about the human connection, genre subverting, character subverting, goes in directions that I have to applaud Naughty Dog for going in, because they really took a chance with this story. And for a lot of people, they didn't like it. But the critics have spoken. It's number one on a lot of game editorial lists. Shouts out Last of Us Part 2, and also shouts out Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like remake, capital R. Like if like the original came out in like late 90s on a PlayStation 1, and it was a turn-based game, and Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out guns blazing, with real-time combat, sexy new graphics, beautiful cinematography, and even new story beats. So there's something for new players and returning players.
That's something that I really think should happen more going forward. Remakes that are actual remakes. Like a list that we didn't put on this list because it came out to less than favorable reviews is SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. There is a difference between taking a game from the 90s and completely changing the combat system and completely changing moments of the story to give us a new game, and taking a game from the early 2000s and not really changing anything and just updating the graphics, that make the two very different. I would like to see more companies going in the direction of putting their own original spin on a remake and taking the things that maybe didn't work in the first one and fixing them, rather than a company just being like, here's a fresh coat of paint, buy the game. Nostalgia for nostalgia's sake is not something that I'm a fan of. I think we've had a lot of it the past couple of years. I'm tired of it. Give me new games. Give me the Spyro trilogy that completely updated all the gameplay.
Please give me all the Harry Potter games, 1 through 7 or 8, whatever, remastered for like
updated.
Yeah, please.
Also, shouts out Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yes.
A game that I don't think has gotten as much attention as the first Spider-Man game. A game that gets flack because people think it's DLC or like a lesser experience. I have to say, even if Spider-Man Miles Morales is shorter than its Spider-Man predecessor, I think this game excels it in every way possible. In story, in combat, in gameplay. The story, Spider-Man Miles Morales has one of my favorite stories. I think Spider-Man stories, period, like across movies,
nice.
TV shows, video games. It's really an incredible experience, and it's only $50, cheaper than your average AAA game. Highly recommend it. For my Nintendo Switch owners, you already know Animal Crossing is
New Horizon
is the game to play. Island sim, it was the island escape that we all needed stuck at home. I have to say, I think the first time that I flew to Jacob's Island, I got a bit teary-eyed because I was like, I feel like this is the closest I've been to you since March. It was really nice, and it's a wholesome game, and it's fun for the whole family. Also for my Switch owners, Hades from the incredible indie studio Supergiant Games, who's made Bastion and Transistor and Pyre. Comes Hades.
Don't miss.
They really don't miss. It's incredible that an indie studio with a team that only has I think Supergiant Games only has about 11, 12 people working on it. For a game company to be so consistent with their storytelling and gameplay and art style, it's really incredible to see the direction they've taken with Hades. It's a roguelike, so you go through these dungeons over and over again. You play as Zagreus, the son of Hades, and you're trying to escape from hell. The gods from Olympus will give you power-ups as you go along. And it's fantastically voice acted on every part. Logan Cunningham is great. Darren Korb, who does the music, who's done music for all the Supergiant games, returns with this game, and once again does not miss. Would highly recommend Hades to you. Come on, Supergiant Games, put it out on PlayStation so I have a reason to give you more money. And
one last
one last video game, right? Shouts out Fall Guys.
Yeah. Fall Guys.
I'd have to say sleeper hit of the year. It was a PlayStation Plus game, and it just took off from there.
Fall Guys gave, in my opinion, the greatest gaming moment of all of 2020. For those of you that don't know, there is an ESPN documentary about it.
There is?
Yes. The streamer, Tim the Tap Man.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to talk about.
Took 3 weeks playing 12 hours a day to finally win his first game of Fall Guys. Fall Guys, for those of you that don't know, is a battle royale-like game. It's kind of like Wipeout meets battle royale. It's like fighting to be the #1 player in the game.
Obstacle courses.
It's a lot of fun. It brought back my love of Wipeout, which used to be one of my favorite shows on TV when it was still running. But there was this entire trend around Tim the Tapman not being able to beat what has been labeled as a child's game. And so there was a giant following of him. The Fall Guys Twitter started making fun of him because he couldn't get a win. And finally, his streams, when he's a normal streamer, normally have, I think, 16 to 20,000 viewers. When he was playing Fall Guys and trying to get his first crown, it got as high as 500,000. People were obsessed with him getting this win. And when it finally happened, there have been memes, there have been videos. The moment it happened, I genuinely screamed. It was the kind of moment that I thought fit 2020 perfectly, watching the gaming community kind of all come together to cheer for this one really silly moment was something that I think we all needed in 2021. So shout out to Fall Guys for that. If you haven't played it yet, it's really fun. It's only $20 as not a PlayStation Plus game. And I think it's worth at least $40. So go buy it. Play it with your friends. Get a couple crowns.
Jacob, play with your friends.
Get ready to fall.
And Jacob, judging by that guitar in your background, I'd say you're a music guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You've been quiet for a bit, bud. Why don't you tell us about some of your favorite albums of this year?
Sure. It feels like so long ago, but Justin Bieber's Changes came out this year. Bring in a little more of a sensitive, honest Justin to the booth, a little less braggadocious and
we're just gonna push Yummy to the side for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll push Yummy to the side. But the overall,
we can all agree on that.
There were, it was a vibe. It was a vibe while it lasted. It was a good Valentine's month album. And it, some songs still hold up. I'm a big Justin Bieber fan, but yeah, it wasn't the best. And going forward,
Wow.
I
that
love
was a turn.
Cool Tape Volume 3, Jaden.
We at Black Wolves did a lot with it.
Yeah, I did 2 covers off of the album. And
I was a part of one of them.
Yep. And
Shout out Falling for You.
Yep. Check them out on the acoustic covers section of our Instagram. That album front to back is just complete vibes and
yeah.
Like, I love how Jaden switches between his genres. So, like, did a full 180 on this one. Like, from dark trap vibes to sunshine rainbows, like
this
more
album,
live instrument production.
It's labeled hip hop, but it's very like indie rock almost.
Yeah, indie pop. It's got a lot of he raps on a couple tracks, but
totally.
Yeah. That album's really good. I'll listen to any song on that album. Another album I really loved was Neon Burgundy, The Perfect Shade or Lack Thereof.
Yay! I'm happy I don't have to be the one that brings that up.
Back again. Total vibes. And some heartbreak in there, and also Something the Sun. Good. Like,
I have to say I'm 180% completely biased towards that album, being the creator of it. But I will also say that album has also managed to like actually be like one of my favorite things to come out this year. Neon Burgundy dominates my my Apple Music replay. And that's like post reviewing it. Like at that point, it's just listening to it for my own enjoyment. Shouts out Neon Burgundy. He did a great job with that album.
It's a great album. It's so good that we decided to do a behind the scenes of every single track. So also go
watch it on our Instagram page.
Yeah, if you want to see how these tracks came together, go check them out on our Instagram. I'm also want to shout out our other friend Samia for her album The Baby, released this year.
So good.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. Minnesota is my favorite song off of that album.
Yes.
I'm still biased for Is There Something in the Movies, but that's just me.
All right. Wasn't it released as a single before the album came out?
It was, but I believe it's also on the album.
All right, yeah, it is on the album. And the last one I'll talk about is DaBaby's "Blame It on the Baby." Oh, blame it on baby. Excuse me.
Blame it on baby.
Blame it on baby. His DaBaby's so fun to listen to, and I feel like I can bounce to any one of his songs on that album. Play it in the car, play it while you shower. Good vibes.
Good vibes.
Yeah.
I'll talk about a few that I liked. My number one album of the year, according to my Apple Music replay and according to my heart, is The Weeknd's After Hours.
Deserved a Grammy.
This podcast is already running a bit over time, so I don't even want to talk about his Grammy snubs. But come on, Blinding Lights alone, topping the charts for 42 weeks straight, should indicate the quality of this album. Such an evolution of The Weeknd. It harkens back to every single one of his eras and kind of blends them all really great, like seamless transitions, great production. Listen to this shit with headphones or with a speaker that has really good bass on it. Hell yeah, The Weeknd After Hours. I've listened to that album so many times at this point. Thundercats, It Is What It Is.
Oh yeah.
Is a great Thundercat, never misses. This master of the bass guitar. This is, his like jazz electronic with a little bit of hip hop and R&B infused album. This album is also dedicated to the late Mac Miller. It is what it is. That's the track that really is dedicated to him. But this whole album is kind of, they were really close friends. That heart really shows through. I am a big fan of Woodkid. I know Logan only knows Woodkid from the Assassin's Creed Revelations trailer. But Woodkid is an incredible French artist who makes really heartfelt music and like incorporates full symphonies and orchestras into every one of his songs. So, and really cinematic too. I can picture any of his songs in literally any movie. Shout out Chloe and Halle for Ungodly Hour. Just some like pure R&B pop vibes to get you through the day. I can listen to that album in any mood. Shout out the Tenet score. I'm not gonna retread. That music is if there's one 10 out of 10 thing from Tenet, it's the music for sure. Spillage Village, JID, and Earth Gang had a collaboration album called Spilligion, which is this like beautiful like gospel religion loving album, but doesn't stray into like Kanye Jesus is King territory, where it gets overly prophetical. This is like religion with the boys, you know. This is like praise God while you smoke a blunt. And it's really great. And James Blake has been making moves this year. He dropped Before, an EP, which kind of incorporates some like real house music elements, made me miss, live events. And he also dropped a covers EP of songs like When the Party's Over and The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face. If you know James Blake, he has the voice of Weeping Angels. So you can only imagine how he sounds on some of these covers. Also shout out Detroit 2 by Big Sean. I think it's his best album in a long time. He comes at it with the hits, with the production. You already know what's up. And finally, shout out Bad Bunny. Yo hago lo que me da la gana. Bad Bunny, this has been Bad Bunny's year. He dropped 3 albums this year. Got COVID and then got cured. And has been on magazine covers and is, challenging gender norms, especially in the Latinx community. Shout out Bad Bunny. I love you, boy. Mwah. Those are my picks for the year. Logan, give us some of yours.
Jacob, I see your hand up.
I just wanted to shout out real quick. I wanted to shout out the 21 Savage and Metro Boomin album, Savage Mode 2.
21.
So good. Kali Uchis' new album, Sin Miedo del Amor y Otros Demonios.
Good job, Jacob.
Thank you. And Beyonce's The Lion King, The Gift Deluxe Edition. I know it might have come out in 2019, but that Deluxe Edition came out in 2020. And let me tell you, some bangers on that album. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just didn't want to
miss those.
Yeah, Logan, why don't you close us up?
I was going to bring up the Kali Uchis album because you guys played it on our drive to the Iron Mask shoot. So shout out to that album. It's really incredible. I loved it as well. I'm going to gun through these real quick. Halsey released an album called Maniac, which I think every single track on is fantastic. I think listen to it front to back and then listen to it shuffled. It doesn't matter. It's a fantastic album. She is a fantastic artist. Shout out to artists that are the same age as us releasing incredible projects. Joyner Lucas dropped ADHD, which was really, really great. Again, front to back. We have a story,
that had come out this
story
year.
albums. It's classic Joyner Lucas. If you know Joyner Lucas, you know his music, you'll like it. Run the Jewels dropped RTJ 4, which is so solid.
They don't miss.
Beginning to end, actually follows a plot line, which, as I've said, I really love. The two of them, Killer Mike and LP, are both incredible individual artists. They're incredible individual advocates and activists. And so to hear them together again on this album made me very, very happy. And finally, yeah, I think this is the last one from me. A person who is very controversial, but who I actually like now, Machine Gun Kelly dropped Ticket to My Downfall, which is a complete shift in genre for him. He went from rapping and doing, he's kind of best known for his kind of rap devil beef with Eminem, to doing a pop punk album with Travis Barker of Blink-182. It is fantastic. Him and Halsey have a song on it that very much reminds me of kind of old school Paramore. So if you like those vibes, if you like that pop punk sound, this is the kind of album that you're really going to enjoy. I highly, highly recommend it. That's my music for this year. I think music did a lot of really good things this year. I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yeah. For the lack of being able to go outside and like really experience things, it's like I'm happy that we did this. It reminded me of a lot of really great things.
Yeah.
That came out this year despite restrictions, despite pandemic. There are a lot of movies that were supposed to come out this year that didn't come out this year, which means they'll be coming out next year, which means we have so much good content to look forward to in 2021.
So much Marvel.
We will list all our recommendations in the description below because we know we went through a lot of them and we don't want you to miss out on anything. Thank you so much for joining us on this longest episode so far of the Black Wolves podcast.
We had to go a little longer.
Yeah, you know, we had a great time with you in 2020 and put it out there, baby. 2021 is going to be better. It's going to be so much better than this year.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. From Black Wolves, I'm Jeremy Van Suarez.
I'm Jacob Wade.
And I am Logan Riley Bruner.
We wish you happy holidays and a fantastic new year. We'll see you then.
We'll see you in 2021.